This piece has been given the title, Over 8,000 Hours, French Creek Memories by me. Throughout my unparalleled childhood, over 8,000 hours and counting have been spent in a one-story, mostly brick, rectangular building. The building being described is French Creek Elementary, a unique wonder in the O.J. Roberts School District. Having been present for 7 years, plenty of special moments have occurred. Hundreds of memories fill my head, each one being its own snowflake in a blizzard, one in a million. My life has been considerably eventful. Tons of marvelous and somewhat rough instances have taken place. And though I don't like to admit it, my entire youth would have been as nonchalant as the fog on a fall morning if I hadn't attended French Creek. Everything started with the late summer 2012 drive to French Creek. Nervousness and happiness filled my heart as the car door slid open and shut. I lined up against a brick wall where kids were being dropped off. After walking into the building, my teacher greeted our class in a friendly tone. Her name was Mrs. Horosky. Friends began to spring up like bubbles in boiling water. I would often hang out with a kid named Ryan Decker. We loved to read I Spy books and talk during story time. One unusual day, we had a substitute. Eventually, every kid had to move their behavior clip down, except for one, Ryan Holmberg, who happened to be hiding under a table. Kindergarten was fun, new, and exciting, but it was quickly over. Nervous excitement came over me as I looked ahead to first grade. My angst only increased as I wandered around the hallways, not even knowing where my classroom was. This was the very first year I met Nick Marino, Luke Armstrong, and a few other children. Miss Rowland had become my teacher, and she knew about my love for dinosaurs. School time had changed from about 3 hours and 30 minutes to about 7 hours. Within the first couple of weeks in Miss Rowland's room, I had gone to the office to deliver something. While I was in there, I told the lady sitting at the front desk that I didn't like school because it was too long. First grade was a great year with many surprises. I had had an extraordinary summer vacation, yet now I had to take my place in second grade. This grade marked the third year in a row Bryce Panella happened to be joining me in a classroom. Mrs. Kent took over the role of my previous teachers. I really enjoyed going to the Da Vinci Center with my class. Tyler Tincher was my main field trip partner, and we had a great time looking at all of the wonderful works of art and science. In no time, bus 24 dropped me off in my driveway, and a new summer had begun. It was time for third grade. Mrs. Stone had become my third grade teacher. She made our class write many stories, which led me to become the enthusiastic writer I am today. A hilarious part of the year was when Mrs. Stone was reading us a book. As she read, the word nimble came up. One kid in my class named Lucas Arnold had an extremely large vocabulary for a third grader. Because of this, Mrs. Stone asked him to define the word nimble. Lucas gave us the definition and then began to gallop around the classroom yelling, "I'm nimble as a deer." Unfortunately, Lucas wasn't as good at being nimble as he was at defining it. He fell over a chair and started laughing hysterically. I found it exceptionally hard to say goodbye to all my new and old friends, and notably Mrs. Stone. Nevertheless, I was cheerful to go on vacation and be free from homework. The option of fourth grade teachers included Mrs. Jones, Mrs. Allender, and Mrs. DiBattista. At the last minute, Mrs. DiBattista was moved to sixth grade, and Mrs. March was brought down to fourth. I ended up with Mrs. March. She was very nice and smart. Fourth grade was the year we raised little chicks. One chick was special to me, so I named him Omelet.
Seriously.
At the end of the year, people signed up to take the chicks home. Braden Barker took Omelet with him because my parents didn't want a chicken. Very quickly, I was on to fifth grade. For fifth grade, I was placed with the teacher I had hoped for. That was Mr. LaBarbera, the only guy teacher in the school. We switched classes for science, and I joined Mrs. Palmerio in that certain subject. It was the first year Cohen Hudson had ever been in a class with me, yet we knew each other due to baseball and recess. A bunch of kids were redistricted and sent to French Creek. To this extent, our school became much more populated. Mr. LaBarbera was funny, fair, and he made 5th grade a cheerful year for everyone. One ultra special moment was when Mr. LaBarbera tossed his dead whiteboard markers into the trash and made nearly every shot. Amazing. The memories of 5th grade seemed far off in the distance as 6th grade hastily approached. I was sad, but also ecstatic to finish off the final year of elementary school. Mrs. DiBattista taught us through 2018 and 2019, becoming my last ever elementary teacher. We had a fun Friday at the end of every week. One particular Friday, our class conducted a vote to determine the activity in which would be the center of the event. No teacher of mine had ever even taken into consideration of what Miss DiBattista did. She allowed us the choice to either play kickball or wrestle. The wrestlers decided to participate in a 6-man tag team match. This one experience is the absolute most crazy and fun thing I've ever done at any recess, practically ever. Time flew by and it was already the end of the year, the end of elementary school. It's impossible to write about French Creek without mentioning Dr. McKillop. She's been the nicest and most understanding principal I have ever come to know, and I thank her for putting in a ton of time to help students in any way she can. Amazing times, wonderful friends, helpful teachers, and excitement transformed 7 years of school into 7 years of memories. If each memory were equal to one drop of rain, there'd be a flood. With no doubt in my mind, I can say that I'm glad I live in this area. It's a fact that I haven't always been an A+ student, but I don't need to be. French Creek taught me to be a respectful, kind, and creative person. Of course, there were bumps in the road, but with every one struggle, 10 positives occurred. It's been a roller coaster, a fun one, and I hope kids in the lower grades continue to appreciate the magic in this place and make teachers smile as my generation had. I finish up this emotional writing piece with a quote from a wisely creative man we learned about back in the younger grades. How did it get so late so soon? Dr. Seuss. Thank you, French Creek.